Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode number 2 of Merch Money. And we have today with us Jacob Topping.
Yay!
Our very first guest. We're so excited.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. So I'm sure everybody already knows who you are, but just in case, Jacob has an amazing book out. International seller, merch in the world of print on demand. 365 pages. Yes.
Wow.
Nice small little book there. Jam-packed with information. I mean, this thing, it has everything. It has marketing, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. But it also has, 21 different print-on-demand platforms?
Well, so I'm listed on 21 platforms, but the book, in chapter 4, there's more than 35 print-on-demand platforms, and then in chapter 5, there's 10 or 11 more. So altogether, if you actually look at all of the ones that are in the book, it works out to about close to 50. 50.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. Everyone needs to get it. The link is in the description of the video too. But anyway, and on top of that, he had a fire yesterday and is still here with us today.
Yeah, so the key is if the temperature coming out of your furnace is nice and comfortable, it's all good. But if it's like 900 degrees Fahrenheit, it's not good. It's bad. And if there's smoke coming out and setting off the fire alarm and the fire department comes to your house, and that's problematic. So that's what we had yesterday. The biggest thing that stressed us out is there was smoke coming out of all over the place, and we couldn't find a fire. We're like, there's a lot of smoke here, and it's really, really, really hot, but there's no fire. We're looking in all the rooms and smelling around. Everything's like super smoky, right? And the fire alarms are sounding, and like the neighbors are coming over. It's kind of getting out of hand, right? There's like smoke coming from our house, and we couldn't find the source of the heat or the fire, or like what's going on, right? And I noticed that there was a lot of heat coming out of the vents, and I thought maybe there was a fire in the basement, right, coming up through the vents. So I went down and I checked the furnace. It was like the first thing I looked at, and it was like perfectly normal. It wasn't like overly hot or anything. It looked fine. But what I didn't know is that it was cycling on and off. So when it was on, it went up to like 900 degrees, and then it came off and just cooled down. And I was down when it was cooled down. So when I checked it, it was like no big deal. I could put my hand on it. It was fine. But then like 2 minutes later, it would crank up again because the thermostat would say, oh, it's getting cold. Turn on the furnace. And the problem was the fan that blows the hot air up the furnace was not operating. And so it just, when it turned on, it was just natural gas blowing into our furnace and not going anywhere, just getting hotter and hotter. Like it was like a barbecue, right? Or like a grill. So that air, it wasn't moving at all. So it just got hotter and hotter and hotter. And then, heat rises. So it just went straight up. So all of the heat was coming out of one duct. And it was like, when you have your oven and you run like the self-clean and it locks the oven and then it gets super hot and everything's like, whoa, it's really hot and it smells funny. Our whole house was like that.
I'm so glad you guys got out of there and you're okay.
Oh,
That's just crazy. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh. I can't believe you have to deal with that.
That was like last night. So yesterday we had, we live in the middle of nowhere. Like I always say that I live near Ottawa, but I live about an hour or so from Ottawa, Ontario, which is the capital city of Canada. And in our area, there's only probably like 200 or 300 people max. Right? And the closest nearby town is, it's like 5 to 10 minutes away. It's about 8,000 people. And then like 30 minutes in the other direction, there's another place that is like 7,000 people. And so when we called 911, because we're like, yeah, we have a fire and we can't find it. And there's a lot of smoke and our fire alarms are going off. So they called the fire department, but they called all the surrounding fire departments because there isn't one here, right? And so we had 3 different fire departments and all of their staff. So there was somewhere between like 40 and 60 firefighters that showed up, and there was pumper trucks because we don't have plumbing here. It's all like groundwater. So they bring the water to the site. So there's pumper trucks all down the street and ambulances and police. And there's like, including all the first responders, there's probably about 100 people that showed up on our front lawn, which was kind of weird. And then all the neighbors are like, what's going on? Is the house burning down? Let's gather around and talk, right? So, which was really nice. And they were caring and stuff. We had a lot of offers for support and it was nice, but it was frustrating that we couldn't find like what was the problem. Even when they got there, like the firefighters are like, yeah, there's no fire, but there's obviously a problem. Your house is full of smoke and it's super hot. So they had like thermal guns. They were looking for fire between the walls, and they didn't find anything. And then same thing happened with them. They would look for it and it would be cold. They're like, it's not even hot, but there's smoke coming out. It doesn't make sense, right? Because the furnace would turn off, right? And then when it came back on again, it was just like billowing smoke. It was burning the inside of our walls.
Oh my God.
So if we weren't home, we probably wouldn't have a house today. But we had we've been out all day. So we're happy that we came home.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yep.
And the other news of the day is that it's Amy's birthday. So thank you, Amy, for being here also on your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Amy too.
Amy Springer. I know we have two Amy's. There she is.
Texas Amy.
Texas Amy. So, and then in addition to that, she just tiered up to 4,000 tier today on her birthday.
Whoa!
Yeah, it was a great birthday present. I'm stoked. So, yeah, thank you.
And Michelle tiered up last episode and we forgot to say anything. So congratulations to Michelle.
Happy birthday.
2,000
tier. And then I tiered up a couple days ago too. So 3 of us in the last week. So anyway, well, we'll get into it now. The way it's way too much information for one episode, and Jacob has. We would need to have him on like every day of the year to go through all the stuff that he knows.
The ebook is 365 pages, and there's 365 days in the year, and that's not by accident. We've got something planned for later, and we only have an episode per year.
We only have an episode once a week, so we're talking like 7 years or something worth of Jacob's topic episode. So anyway, what I thought we'd do is just each of us kind of pick a few of the topics to talk about. So Amy's going to start first, and she is going to be covering Facebook ads and AMS. And then we'll go into, she'll say how she does it in her business. And then we'll talk to Jacob and see like other tips and other things that he can add. And then we'll go down the line and each of us will cover a different one. So Amy, do you want to go first?
Sure. So marketing mayhem girl here. And I only say that because I feel like I've earned a little bit of stripes with having spent over 6 figures on Facebook ads since about 2014, I think. Yeah. Now the challenge with Facebook ads, that sounds like, oh, wow, but you constantly have to be monitoring them and making sure you're profitable, right? So I started out in Kindle publishing. I used Facebook ads for that. I moved to my Shopify store, did print on demand very heavily, and used Facebook ads for that. Again, it's a balance. Always making sure you're on top, right? As far as with merch, I have experimented because we're kind of limited in what we can do, right? We can't track any sales, which is unfortunate. That's Amazon, just not giving that information. So you really only have, from what I've done, you have like 2 options in terms of direct advertising from Facebook to Amazon. So one option is you can create a page post engagement. So you see all the time if you have a fan page and you post something on your fan page and it says, oh, do you want to boost this post? I don't recommend clicking that button. I recommend actually going into a Facebook ads account, setting up a business manager, setting up an ad via the inside of Facebook ads manager. What that will do is generate it'll take your fan page and your post and it'll basically show it to who you want. You can just show it to your fan page. You can show it to, like say you've got a funny cat shirt. You can show it to people who love all these funny cat pages, cat videos. There's just a million ways to target people on Facebook, and it's kind of overwhelming. So that's one option of Facebook ads. The other way is what they call clicks to website, which this phrase keeps getting changed on Facebook. So it's probably called something else by now, but basically what you're doing is you're creating almost like what they call a dark post. What that means, nobody's going to see it on your fan page. It's not like you go on your page and you post something. You go into the back end of Facebook and you create traffic. I think the option is just traffic now, actually, that I'm thinking about it. And it'll tell you like, okay, we need you to give us a picture, give us a link. What call to action button do you want? Personally, I've always found the shop now call to action to be the best one that gets people clicking. And as far as relating that to merch, I've tested like pictures with models in the shirt. I've tested video ads where I've got multiple colors, multiple shirt styles. Like for instance, I even took one of my shirts that was in a hoodie, a long sleeve, a t-shirt, and I made like a little video slideshow. And I've tested just, you know, very simple kind of ads like, hey, you know, do you love cats? Click here, or, you know, shop now button. And just keep it straightforward, right? Don't give a lot of fluff in these ads because you just want people to go, you just want them to click, right? That's what you're paying for. I will say, you know, it depends on what you're marketing, but I have had success with trending type of shirts that, you know, people are seeing on Facebook, clicking my ad, going into merch. Now, of course, you could say, well, did that sale come from Facebook or did it just, you know, was it an organic sale? We don't really know, but I'll tell you this, if it wasn't making sales before and now you're sending traffic, chances are, you know, either A, Amazon is rewarding you for giving extra traffic out of your own pocket, or B, they actually are buying, you know, from that link, which in turn will help you, right? Because you're going to get a sales rank, you're going to get boosted in the search for whatever, maybe certain keywords in your title or your brand. Amazon is going to favor you. And I found this to be very, very true with Kindle publishing. I would send them to my Kindle book, you know, and I was willing to spend more than I was making per royalty, right? Because I knew Amazon was going to boost me up. And that would give me better exposure, right? You're really paying for exposure. And then you're waiting for that kind of, you know, catch 22 where it's like, Amazon's like, oh, we're not really going to show your shirt. Oh, but now you're sending traffic. So we're going to show it to more people, you know, because you're getting more and more traffic and you're getting more and more sales. So those are the kinds of ads that I was using with Facebook. Like I said, it works better for trends, hot phrases, things like that, events that are going on. I've tried it for some of my top selling evergreen shirts. And I would say, you know, maybe it was working a little bit, but it wasn't working enough for me to be profitable. And I was turning my attentions more and more over to AMS. So I like AMS because, you know, and granted, I realize like some people can't get this ads platform right now, which really sucks. I'm sorry. But for those of you who have an AMS account, I know there's a chance in a month you might not have it. But I would say strike while it's hot, because if there's ever an opportunity, and this is something I learned with Kindle publishing, was just grab the freaking opportunity. Like, don't just sit there and complain about, oh, it's going to be gone. And, you know, what's the point? If you already have an account and you're already semi-familiar, you know, take advantage of that. As far as what kind of things work on AMS, I can get evergreen to sell. I know some people say, no, I can never sell evergreen. It's holidays only, or, you know, trending. You know, some people only test those products, though. They won't even bother trying their evergreen stuff that's already made sales. And that's what I highly recommend, too, is that you stick with shirts that have sold already organically, right? And even if it's something that you shared to your, you know, fan page and people bought it, that's fine.
Amy,
But it's always
I don't
easier.
mean to cut in, but can you explain for the people that are watching that don't know what AMS is?
Yeah,
You know
sure.
what it is.
So the Amazon Marketing Services, they have a platform where you can take your shirt, ASIN, and you can plug it in, and they'll say, oh, here's your shirt, here's all the colors, and you want to send traffic to it, right? There's auto and there's manual bidding. Auto, it's kind of funny, they call it auto, but you still have to pick a bid. So you still go in there and you tell them, okay, I only want to spend 25 cents a click, right? That's my max. Manual bidding, the difference is you do bid, but you bid based on keywords. So you can plug in whatever keywords you think people might be searching for. And in manual, you have three options. You have, three regular options. You have broad, which is like, you know, cat shirt, right? That's pretty broad. You have phrase, funny cat t-shirt for women. That might be a phrase. What phrase means is Amazon's going to take chunks of that phrase that you're giving them. So if they see somebody typing in, cat women's shirt, they're probably going to show your ad because that's got some of the words in it. It doesn't have to be exact. And that's the beauty of it, because some people type things really weird and backwards, like t-shirt, women, cat lover, you got to get in the mind of your consumer sometimes and realize sometimes they have no idea how to type what they're searching. So that's phrase. And then there's exact. Now, exact, most of the time I've had success with exact keywords if I bid high, because you're literally like telling Amazon, I want funny cat t-shirt. I want all the traffic sent to my, my listing. And what the sponsored ads is pretty much all I've ever played with. What it does is when somebody searches this on Amazon, you're going to see at the top these little, it looks like a little question mark next to your picture of your shirt, and it says sponsored, right? It's always going to pop up either first couple of search results, hopefully if the niche isn't like completely competitive. I have seen sponsored ads way at the bottom of page 1, which kind of is unfortunate. But if there's a lot of people running ads and your bid is low, then that's what happens. So that's how it kind of shows up in the feed. And I hope all this makes sense. I know it's like a lot of information, especially if you're totally new to AMS. But I've had success with both auto and manual. What I like to do is take that, say like I had an evergreen shirt that was, had made a couple sales, heck, even one sale. I'll throw an ad on it, and I would start fairly low with my bids. At this point, more and more people are on the platform, so I'm starting in like the 30 cents kind of ranges. Before that, you could get away with like 20-cent bids, right? Because not that many people were on it, but it definitely got put out there and more people jumped on. So I wait like pretty much 2 days, because there's this like crazy delay with ads where you don't even see impressions maybe for 24 hours. Even though that Amazon is actually serving your ad, you get the data 24 to 48 hours behind. Oftentimes too, I've made sales, like you can see on your dashboard, you've made the sale, but AMS never catches it. They might attribute it to, oh yeah, they clicked your ad, but they ended up picking a different color, or they ended up picking a different style. Maybe they clicked the kid's shirt, but they bought a woman's. So it's my understanding that if that kind of stuff happens, it might not track your sale. Makes it a little bit confusing when you look at your numbers on, the AMS software, and they have what they call an ACoS, which is like an average cost of sale. And honestly, it's more confusing than it needs to be. I completely ignore this number. I look at my daily amounts with what AMS is billing me. It was one of the best ways to find out what you're actually giving to Amazon in terms of money out of your pocket. There is a section where you can go to billing, and you can see, okay, how much charges has Amazon accrued, right? You can also see on your AMS columns for each ad, how much is spent, how many sales, how many impressions. But with the data being so delayed, it makes it very challenging to make wise decisions sometimes about, do I raise the bid? Do I lower the bid? Do I turn it off? So I just like to look at my own numbers. And if I say I have 20 ads running and I've spent, my billing history, I can look at yesterday's, because I keep track of this every day. I look at yesterday's, and my billing, says $10 spent. Today it says $14.50, right? So I can say, okay, I spent $4.50 in 24 hours. And across 20 some ads, as long as I made because I price my shirts decent, as long as I made one sale, keep them all running, right? Now, if you
this is why we call her our marketing mayhem girl. Yeah, everything.
It sounds so like, I don't know. It sounds simplistic.
Let's let Michelle ask Jacob some questions now.
Yeah,
go ahead. He does it.
All right.
Well, one thing I just wanted to say, Amy, that was really good explaining.
Does that explain it? Okay, good.
Yes.
You explained it better than I could.
I was taking notes over here.
Me too. I've been taking notes. Jacob, why don't you tell us a little bit about, in your book, about some marketing strategies that you have that you mentioned in your book and what works for you?
Sure. Okay. So in the book itself, I like to always take a step back and look at why do we do things and what is the result we're looking for and how do we measure the result, right? Because as Amy mentioned, like Amazon, when you're doing AMS, it gives you lots of data. And sometimes it's easy just to say, okay, well, this is how much I'm spending every day and this is how many sales I'm making. Is it effective? Yes or no, right? And that's sort of a quick and easy way to do it so that it doesn't take up too much space in your mind, right? It's just easy. I spent this much, I sold this much, did I make money? Yes or no, right? But I want to take a step back to the Facebook part because that's sort of what she was talking about first. So in the book itself, Merchant in the World of Print on Demand, there's a whole chapter on marketing. And the marketing chapter is split into different platforms. Facebook is one of the top platforms that people market with when they're marketing to any of the print on demand platforms, both Merch by Amazon and other ones. So the first part of the chapter, actually, even before I get to Facebook, I get into why do people market, right? Like, why would somebody buy something, right? Some people shop based on price. Some people shop based on exclusivity. Some people shop based on convenience, like how fast I can get something, the amount of time and things like that. So when we're looking at Merch by Amazon, the advantage of Merch by Amazon that it has really two big advantages over other pods. One is Prime shipping and the brand behind Prime shipping. People know that when they go to Merch by Amazon or when they go to Amazon and they buy a shirt, they're expecting to be able to get it with Prime shipping, right? And that's something that other pods, although they have similar services and some of them are even faster than Prime, Amazon Prime has that branding. The second reason is, as sellers, we like to sell on Amazon because it's got huge traffic, right? And it's that huge traffic that causes an issue. And that's why AMS allows you to basically get ahead of everyone else and put your shirts in front of people. So that's kind of like a background and a history. But in terms of what's in the book, there's a chapter 5 has Facebook. And in it, each one of the platforms that I have, I go through multiple different ways that you can use marketing. Some of them are paid and some of them are free. And I tried to put in both. So for example, in Facebook, I talk about Facebook Pixel. And I've got a question. So Amy, when you're doing your Facebook marketing, are you using Pixel for your Merch by Amazon shirts?
No, not at all. And that's kind of the challenge. I know there's some ways to like divert through a link of some sort and capture that. Yeah,
exactly. So one thing that I recommended in the book is using Facebook Pixel. And what it allows you to do is build a lookalike audience. So you'll be targeting people like cats, right? You'll run your ad. What you're doing now is you're making like the listing to Merch by Amazon, and then people that like cats, they click on it and hopefully you get a sale. But you can't really track how effective that is, and you can't tell the difference between somebody that came in through Facebook or somebody that just came in through Amazon if you're not tracking it, right? So what I recommend is if you learn how to use Pixel, there's a whole section in the book, it's under Facebook Pixel. It shows you how it works, what it is. There's links to videos on how to do it. It shows you exactly how you can target your Facebook ads for that. And what you can do is you can run from Facebook into something like Shopify, where on Shopify you have a forwarding link. And then that allows you to use Pixel to capture the buyer's information so you know who's clicking on your ads and who isn't, so you can test the effectiveness of your ads. That's one advantage. Another advantage is you're capturing audience data, so you can build lookalike ads to target more effectively on Facebook. The third thing is you're running it through Shopify, and Shopify itself has tons of different apps that can plug in and give you all kinds of extra data. So you can capture your client information coming off the Pixel in Shopify, and then you can forward it from Shopify through an Amazon affiliate link, and you can boost your sales the money that you make per sale, because not only are you getting the royalty from Merch by Amazon, but you're also getting the 7% commission from Amazon affiliates. So you can set up a workflow from Facebook through Facebook Pixel into Shopify and then over to Merch by Amazon. So now you're capturing, you know what's effective and what isn't. You know who's buying it. You can retarget those people. You can build a lookalike audience and target other people who'd be interested in that design. You're boosting your revenue for every sale that you're driving traffic to on Merch by Amazon. Plus, you're still making the sales on Merch by Amazon, right? And that's not talking about really any other pods. That's just Merch by Amazon and Facebook. So on that one page alone, I think there's some information that people could find useful. I go into other ways that you can use Facebook outside of paid marketing. So you can use pixel data without running paid ads. You can do free advertising within Facebook. And you touched on that. You said talking about building a group, for example. So you can have a group, you can have a page, you can have interests, topics, and you can sort those by different types. So you know when you go into Facebook and you create a page, you know how they give you all the options of different types of audiences that page is built for? they're doing that so that they can drive the correct type of traffic for organic search within Facebook. So if you're driving an audience and you have a particular type of traffic that you've made the page for, you want to put designs into that page that make sense for that group of people, right? And you can maybe you could have the same page with the exact same topic. You could have a cat page, but you could have 10 different cat pages. And each one of them, when you set up the page itself, could have 10 different audience targets for cats. They're all cats. They're all on Facebook. They're all pages. But you've broken up the type of advertising that's being driven organically within Facebook because people are using Facebook for search, right? I know I've done that before. I've searched for things on Google, don't find what I look for. Maybe I'll go to YouTube, I'll search there. If I don't find it there, maybe I'll go to Facebook and search. And as people use mobile more, they're using Facebook more often because it's convenient, right? So
Jacob,
I talked
does your
about
book
setting
go
up.
into this much detail for that to help readers to be able?
Yeah. So like, I'll talk about the different types. So I'll say there's pages, there's different types of pages that you can set up. It's free to do that. I talk about how to build the audience in it. Then groups, why you would do a group, what's the difference between a group and a page. Existing groups, so partnering with somebody like influence marketing and getting into an existing group of people and how you can target those people. I get into personal pages, but even within like existing groups, I break that down further. So I go through different ways that you can partner with somebody in a group. Like I've partnered with you guys through your YouTube live video, and I'm marketing the book right now. Like this is currently happening, right? So you guys are influencers, and we've got a partnership here. And then the benefit to you guys is you've partnered with me. I'm an influencer, and I'm driving like 10,000 plus views to your new YouTube channel, which is beneficial for you guys. So you want to find a win-win scenario where you partner with anybody. But when I talk about existing groups, there's lots of different ways you can do that, right? You can offer them cash. You can pay for traffic, right? Like you can go to an admin and say, hey, I'll give you $200 to get in front of however many of the people in your audience. And you may be the only person in that audience that's getting in front of them because nobody else is offering cash, right? So if you want to get in front of like 30,000 people or 50,000 people or 100,000 people, there's private groups with huge numbers. And you can put your ads, but your listings for Merch by Amazon shirts in front of those people. So talk about cash. If you don't have cash, you can barter, right? You can say, hey, I'll offer you this. I'll give you information that targets your people that they're looking for, stuff that they might be not finding elsewhere. In exchange for that, I want to be able to put some of my listings in here and then kind of show people how it works, right? There's bartering. I talk about exclusive content. So you can provide that group with content that they can't get elsewhere. That's beneficial for the group. And it's also beneficial for you if you've got a product that serves that group on Merch by Amazon. Recognition. So sometimes people, the people that build groups, I'm sure you guys have had groups and you're building a group now. Sometimes it's just nice to have that extra recognitions, right? So you can kind of, I don't know, quote unquote, like, I don't want to say butter people up, but you can encourage people and give them support. And that's valuable to some people. Everybody's different on how they run their groups, right? So that's just all under the existing group page. Like there's 2 pages on that one topic in the book. All of those are there.
Perfect. Do you include links too with those resources at all? Do you know?
Yeah, so there's links throughout the book. There's more than 350 links inside the book, and there's dozens of video links as well. So for example, in the Facebook Ad Manager, I've got a link directly to the Facebook Ad Manager content creation guide. So you can go in there and see exactly what they're looking for. I've got pictures and things of the things you can target. You can
I think you went a little above and beyond here, Jacob.
Well, you wanted to look at like Facebook. So this is like, I've shown you 2.5 pages from the book. It's got 365
and there's 365
pages.
guys.
365, yeah. Here
So
I've got a
user-friendly
blog
this
post
book
on
is.
how to, the complete guide for targeting on Facebook from Advertisement. And I give credit if I'm using somebody else's material, so it's from Advertisement. It gives you literally all of the interests you can target in Facebook. So everything from hobbies and activities, entertainment, business and industry, sports and outdoors, shopping and fashion, food and drink, technology, fitness and wellness, family and relationships. Those are the top level categories. That's not the targets. Those are just the categories. If you go into any one of those categories, so Brianna, you're on the screen. You're probably interested in fitness and wellness, I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
So we've got bodybuilding, cycling, meditation, nutrition, private exercise, physical fitness, running, weight training, yoga, Zumba. That's subcategories in one category of just the interest section of Facebook, right? So I've got a picture that'll give you an example, but if you click on the links are where it's full of data. Like there's one big link there, and I type it out in the written book, but in the ebook that you guys have, the Gumroad one, you just click on it, you go to it. Not only does it show you interests, it also goes into all the categories, right? You can target by geography, you can target by, you know, political association, what they're most likely to vote for, right? You can target by profession. Like I want to target a nurse who tends to vote whatever political party, and they like dogs, and they're interested in, I don't know, food, they're interested in wine, cooking, and bodybuilding. And you can build an ad that specific, and then you can serve up that design that you've built to those people. So one of the strategies is when you're designing your designs for Merch by Amazon, instead of making a design and trying to figure out how to market to it, figure out what you want to market to and build the design for that group, right? Do it in reverse.
Yeah.
You can literally, just by using Facebook interest targeting things that you can go to, you can use that as your niche resource. And I recommend doing that. I have a whole niche section, which is separate from this call, so it shouldn't get into it. But you can use Facebook ad marketing targets as niche ideas for which designs to build. And then you know the designs are specifically built for those targeted groups, right?
And
Jacob,
checking the
do you
numbers,
think
right?
Facebook's getting pricey?
Yeah, the price of Facebook has gone up relative to what it was. So in 2015, it was much lower for ads that you're running through Facebook. But most of the suggestions I have in the book are cost-free. It doesn't matter what the price is because you're not paying anything. It's free, right? So your personal page, I show people how to do that. Local groups and pages, right? Like in my area, I said before, I live in the middle of nowhere. There's a 24-hour garage sale that runs all the time, and there's 20,000 people on it. There's not even 20,000 people in our area, but the surrounding area, there's like 25, 30,000 people, right? So I can put up shirts there that go to Merch by Amazon, and I can target people local to my area. But in the book, I take it a step further. You're on the internet. Your local area is your local area, but I could target somebody else's local area, right? So if I know somebody that lives in Texas and I want to target their community for ads for Merch by Amazon, I can build specific ads that are targeted to their local community. And I give examples, right? So here I'm talking about Shigoma, Japan. Do you guys know about Shigoma, Japan? It is considered the lunch sushi capital of the world. But guess what? It's a very small community in Japan, right? So you can target ads to that community and then run designs that fit for them, and you can target them specifically, like to the prefecture.
How did you think of something like that?
That's what I'm trying to wonder.
So when I wrote the book, my goal was to put it together so that nobody would have to really look anywhere else. Like you've read parts of it, right? Most people flip through it, kind of look at stuff. And I spent over 1,000 hours of research to build the content that I would want to look at. And I use it myself. I refer to it all the time. Like there's way more information here than I can just remember offhand. So I always refer to my own book on my computer. I just have the PDF set up. And then if I search something, because I wrote it, I know that everything that's there is stuff that I would want to see. If I go and Google search something, I might get 25 pages of garbage and like one page of that is good. But if I go and look at my own book or my own computer, I've already looked at it, right? And so I can go back to that and know that everything that I'm looking at is good and will work, because that was the consideration. If it's good and it works, I put it in the book. If it sucks and it doesn't work, I didn't put it in the book. That's kind of the approach that I looked at it. But I get into like rich content, so different kinds of content that you can put into Facebook, what's allowed, what's not allowed, how to boost ads if you want to do ads. I've got bonus tips, target time-based events. So if you want to target like here I've got festivals, holidays, fairs, conferences, movies, new movies, video games, concerts, sports games, seasonal activities, skiing, swimming, ice fishing, maple syrup, sap collecting, right?
Jacob, do you find the trends thing, like for the ads you've run, is that like your most successful stuff?
I don't do much ads. Most of the marketing that I do is because that's why I'm on so many platforms. Most of what I'm looking for is organic. But I'll use some of the things from paid advertising to inform my designs. So when I do them organically, they're just found when people SEO, like when they're searching for them. So I'll target things that people search for, and it drives its own traffic, and I pay nothing for it, right? And not only that, I'll verify what it is that I'm looking for. I'll check to see if it's seasonal traffic or if it's specific to the time of year, or is it something that comes up once in a while? Is it evergreen? There's all kinds of different things. So if I'm looking at a niche list that I've created for myself, so like I've put in how to do that in the book as well. There's like almost 10 pages of how to do niches. There's over 100 different ways to create a niche list. So anybody that's buying niche lists or who's making and selling niche lists, this is both of these groups of people would be helped by that section.
That is
But what I'll do
awesome.
is if I find a niche, right? So let's say I want to target somebody that's interested in thermometers, right? They're a scientist. They love thermometers. They really into
Yeah.
this thing, you know. They've got like
We got a scientist in the group.
yeah. Well, there's all
I'm
kinds
the
of
science
thermometers,
geek.
right? You know when you go to like the tourist store and they have the water ones with colored water and it like moves the little ball up and down depending on the pressure, right? And there's like barometers and there's hydrometers and there's regular thermometers and there's like the little spinny dial thing that says it's going to be cloudy or whatever. So you just look at it and you can tell what the temperature is. Or hey, people have Alexa, right? They're into like the thermometer apps, right? So the weather apps, I guess, weather. So if I'm targeting somebody that likes that, I want to be able to build designs around that group of people. But I want to find out, well, are people that like thermometer things, when do they buy? So then I'll go to Google Trends, right? I'll type in like whatever the term is that I'm looking for, and I'll see, is this seasonal or not? And if it is, am I in the season or not, right? I'm not going to post up a water skiing thing in the middle of winter, or I'm probably not going to do an ice fishing shirt in the middle of the summer. Because not a lot of people are ice fishing in the summer because there's no ice, regardless of where you are. You can be like in the high Arctic and the water thaws, right? No ice fishing. So I'll look at like Google Trends to tell me when that niche makes sense to advertise for.
That's awesome. I think this is the perfect segue to go to Brianna, because Brianna is our scientist in the group.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know if I didn't quite get into AMS, but that's so we covered 3 pages of Facebook stuff that's in the book.
And it was
Well,
amazing.
Brianna,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I can't wait to read it, Jacob, because that
Same.
sounds like awesome.
I might need to get the printed version.
Yeah. So, well, some people are buying. So here's the thing. The Gumroad version, the one that you have a link to, it gives you bonus files that aren't available in the printed version. And then it also has like clickable links. You can click on it and it goes straight to it. So it's convenient. What's happening is I give free updates on the Gumroad version. So it's been like version 1. There's a 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition. It's on the 5th edition right now, right? But some people that bought the Gumroad version and they have the ebook already are buying it a second time, and they're also buying the print version just because I like to refer to it, right? Like I like to put these little tabs and stuff. I can tab it up and refer to it, flip to it, right? And the more I use it, the quicker it gets.
Do you
So
sell it on Amazon then, the printed version?
Yeah, if you want the printed version, you can go to Amazon.com or Amazon.ca or .mx or Brazil, or it's on 11 different Amazon marketplaces
Wow.
in print.
Oh, wow.
And I should add, it's making sales in multiple Amazon marketplaces, which I'm really
Awesome.
excited about. It's my first Amazon printed book.
Fantastic.
Yeah, congratulations. Jeez. Amazing.
Just wrote like the POD Bible.
Well, actually, somebody after one of my affiliates registered the domain, themerchbible.com. And I didn't register. I don't own that domain. Somebody else did. So if you go to themerchbible.com, it'll take you straight to the book, which is kind of hilarious.
Awesome.
Of course, in my head, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he has an audio book. Do you fans
Actually, yeah. So I'm working with somebody right now to put together an audio edition. And the
Awesome.
audio edition, the question that we have is, do I want one audio edition or do I want it available in different accents? So I've got 2 offers from 2 different people that want to do the audio for the audio version. And then Tara wants me to do it myself. Tara's my wife. And then I have 2 other people that have recording studios that have offered to do it. And then, I don't know if you guys know this, but Amazon has Amazon ACX, and you can get audio recording done for you. So if you already have a book, like Amy, you said you had a Kindle book. If you want to make that an audio book,
on
you can go
ACX.
through Amazon ACX, and you can hire a voice actor to make your audio book.
Cool.
Yeah, and you don't even have to
It's going to
pay
be an
them,
audio version.
which is nice. Like you can go in on a split with them, negotiate like a 50-50 on the sales. So you don't even have to pay for a voiceover.
Yeah, you can get free audiobook that way, or you can negotiate it, or you can take a percentage. There's all kinds of different ways. So I'm kind of sorting out who's doing it and how we're going to account for it. But since you asked, yeah, there's going to be an audiobook.
Awesome. So Instagram is what we're going to talk about next. And hopefully you have a lot to add to this area because I'm extremely new to it, but I'm having a lot of fun experimenting with it. I know I mentioned this last time, so I'm really getting into the hashtags and using those to drive obviously sales to Merch by Amazon that way. I have noticed that the use of the hashtags on Facebook is a little off-putting to people that don't know what hashtags are. They think you're like sending a secret code. Like, I don't know, it just really weirds people out when they don't understand what the hashtags are for. Obviously, I'm using them for search purposes when I'm using them. But what I wanted to do was just kind of go down quickly, like almost like the hacks I've come up with for navigating Instagram. And then Jacob, you can elaborate on any of them.
Sure.
So the first thing I did was, Helen, I watched your Amazon Spark video, which was amazing because I had no idea about Amazon Spark. So immediately that, I'm like, I had to stop what I'm doing, got to get on Amazon Spark right now, getting that up there. And so what I did was I created one. I just downloaded like a free background. Honestly, it was not that cute, but it was a background and a shirt on it, and they kind of went together, and I created my post. And then what I did was I just basically took that post and then went over to Instagram with it and did my thing on Instagram. So what I found out was when you're posting on Instagram, you can actually click on a little tab or a link that says View Insights, and you're actually able to check back days, weeks, months later to see where all the traffic for that post has been coming from. So I had posted different t-shirts before, but this one in particular got way more traffic, and I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know if it's the picture. I don't know if it's the hashtags I used, but when I took a look at the insights, after using everything I did on Spark and then moving it over to Instagram, I think the number was 20% of my traffic came from people that did not follow me or know me. So somehow
that's good traffic.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Now I haven't gone back farther than that. That was just a post from 3 or 4 days ago. So I need to go back and take a look at some shirts that I posted, maybe a couple weeks ago to see what the differences are between the two. But yeah, I was pretty excited when I checked that out. As far as if you don't understand with Instagram, so it's really weird about posting links. So that's kind of the strange part of using it. We're used to Facebook. You advertise something, boom, you click on it. And Instagram is not so easy. So there is the only place that I have found on Instagram where you can put a clickable link is in your bio. And so what I have done right now is just use a free app, Linktree. But you could create a landing page. I mean, you could do whatever there. But the point is they can click on my bio and it can pop over to a page that could be a t-shirt store, it could be a Shopify store, it could be a set of links to drive traffic. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And the strange part is, however, everywhere else on Instagram, you can't actually use clickable links. So you have to come up with other ways for people to click on those and to drive traffic, at least to my knowledge. And again, I'm super new at this, so I'm not 100% on any of it. I've noticed a lot of Instagram users, so they'll post, these great hashtags. When you're posting your hashtags, you can see how many, I guess it'd be the popularity or how many posts are currently using that hashtag. So then if like there's 1 million hits or 4 hits, which keywords to hit, which ones are probably going to bring in the most traffic. And it's funny that it's not always like smart to put hashtag t-shirt, because it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a lot of traffic because there's 6 million t-shirt posts. I have found success in narrowing down pretty hard on the niche that I'm working with. One other little hack that I came up with, I think I mentioned it last week, was I actually started following, there's a certain niche of activity that our family is into. And so I started to slowly follow other Instagram influencers that were sort of in this and in this niche. And then I went onto their page and actually created like a real comment, not a spammy one like, hey, I created this shirt, check it out, it's really cool. Like I went in there genuinely and I was like, hey, like our family does this, we love it. There's never enough shirts. Like, shoot me a message and I will make a shirt for your club. I will, show you some of the shirts that I've made for this. And like immediately within 15 minutes of sharing on this gentleman's page, he had already DM'd me and we set something up. So, that is something, a nice lesson to take moving forward. Maybe something a virtual assistant can help you do as well, as far as posting and finding active influencers that are on Instagram to hopefully, direct to your t-shirt services, however you're approaching that, whether it's merch by Amazon or whether it's just designing. That's pretty much it. I don't necessarily know too much more about it. Definitely it's a visual platform. Like, it seems to be that I'm more successful when I'm not just being lazy and putting a picture of the shirt up there. Like, wear the shirt, put it on a cool background, like, be a little creative with it. And it's difficult for me because I'm very data driven. I'm numbers, I'm science, I'm math, and I'm all like, you want me to get creative with this picture? Okay, can somebody do it for me? So there's a lot of, and I'm sure everybody's aware of these, but there's a lot of like really easy, free picture services, like, is it Photor or something like that, where you can just pop open a tab real quick, make some hideous little background, pop your t-shirt on it, boom, you're done. So
I like that advice.
I can throw in a tip because I've run Instagram ads. I've run my own business pages, I think is how you're seeing the insights. If you want to grow your following, like the actual people following you, it was recommended to me that you should follow and of course this is definitely like a VA task, follow no more than 40 people an hour, but obviously people that are in your niche and stuff. And then they start to follow you back and maybe even go to other people's, say you see somebody else selling the same kind of t-shirt, go to their followers and start following their followers. That'll help you gain, following quick. And also if you post 3 to 5 times a day, spread throughout the day. And, it'd probably be good to research when your audience is online, but that's definitely helps to grow your fans fast.
Which is there, do you know, Amy, of, I'm pretty sure I've seen, or Jacob, automated services for doing that, for timing?
Yeah, so there's all kinds of approved and unapproved ways to do that. So if you're posting and you're making posts to Instagram, you want to make sure you're using an approved poster to the platform. So things like Hootsuite, for example, you can do that for multiple social media platforms. You can set up campaigns that post across multiple social media campaigns with Hootsuite, just as an example. And what it'll do is you put in what the post is, you put in the media that conforms best to that post. So in Instagram, you want to have more of a square image, and Facebook, depending on the platform you're targeting, it could be more square, and there's certain ratios. So a 16:9 ratio or a 9:16, they offer posts on Facebook in every different ratio between those two, which is kind of weird. 9:16 and 16:9, they're opposites, right? But anyways, you can do that. And then what you can do is you can have all of the different posts to multiple social media platforms simultaneously, and you can set them up to time throughout the day or at certain times of the day, and they don't have to be equally spread out. So if you know that you can look at your audience data and you can see what time of the day they're on to your own content, but you can also look up other people's audience data. So to answer your question about automating, Hootsuite, for example, is a good option. And there's more programs like Hootsuite. There's a whole bunch of different ones you can use to set up automated campaigns. And people are probably putting them in the comments right now, I'm guessing. There's live comments. This is a live show, right?
Do you have to be, because I used one where you had to have your phone and it was going to alert you that, hey, your post is ready to be, your scheduled post is ready to be posted, right? Does Hootsuite eliminate that?
Yeah, so there's, I talk about this in the book. You can get artificial intelligence to run your campaigns as well. That's very different. I don't know if you want me to get into that or not, because that's like a whole other thing.
Probably a little too depth.
I'll summarize it, okay? You can get a computer to run your marketing for you. They'll pull things off of your store. They'll price it. They'll create carousel ads and things for you. They'll target the audience for you. They'll find out what's the most likely audience to buy this niche based on the words on your listing. They'll build the actual thing. They'll do everything except the pricing. So as long as you have your products priced, which you would if you have a store, it literally builds everything, and you can set up automated artificial intelligence. They're not bots. There's bots where you can have a conversation with a bot, and then there's AI, and there's AI that I talk about in the book called Kit CRM, which you can get through Shopify. But there's multiple types of AI, and actually list in the newest update, I actually go through multiple types of AIs that you can hire. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. But think about this: for free, I can get an artificial intelligence computer to find our target audience, grab the shirts from my store that it thinks would be most likely to buy those things based on its own thoughts, however it works, the AI thoughts. There's nobody behind it, right? I don't have to write the copy. I don't have to say like the title and description and stuff. It like builds its own. It makes its own unique title that's human readable. It builds its own description. It builds a carousel ad with like 10 different shirts from my store, including the pricing that it pulls from my store automatically. I don't touch any of it, right? All I have to do is say, how much do I want to spend and which platform do you want to put it on? And it builds the whole thing by itself. And then it targets that audience. It sets up a pixel for me, so I don't even have to know how to do pixel. It creates a pixel lookalike audience, and it continues to retarget those groups of people anytime I want. And I talk with my AI bot on Facebook Messenger. So I'd be like, hi, Kit. They'd be like, oh, hi, Jacob. What do you want to do today? And I'll be like, I want to run an ad. And it'll be like, great. What kind of ad do you want to put on? Facebook, Instagram, email campaign? You can do email campaigns using artificial intelligence, and it'll retarget your email audience.
That's so cool.
Like it gets crazy. And I talk about that in chapter 8, and I think in chapter 10. Twice. I talk some of the things I put in. It's kind of like a miscellaneous chapters. Chapter 8 and 10 they get weird.
That's incredible.
Amy, did you have any questions to ask Jacob about that topic?
I do. With Instagram, is it better to have like niche specific profiles, or should you more focus on branding on Instagram?
It depends on your business, go ahead. There's more questions.
In your book, you say it's more like a younger demographic and millennials and stuff. Would they prefer brands versus a niche?
So as a general statement, anybody would be like millennials and younger are much less brand specific. They don't care too much about brands. They care about lifestyle. They take about experience. Authenticity is really popular. So for those ones, I would focus on the subject matter and not the brand. And then like baby boomers and older, they're really specific about brands, right? So if you talk to just in a general sense, right? There's people that would argue on both of these, and that's a whole like debate about that. But generally speaking, people that are older focus and enjoy brands more. So they'll trust a brand. They'll like a branded car. Like maybe they would be more likely to drive like an Audi or a BMW or a brand that's very strong versus somebody like a millennial. They wouldn't really care as much, and they might be happy to drive a brand new brand that comes out, like a Scion or like a different brand of car, for example, that's like a Tesla would be popular, right? Maybe that's a bad example. So yeah, in terms of how you brand it, it depends on how you're doing your business and which pods you're targeting and how you're wanting to build your traffic. So they both work, right? What I do, and I mentioned this earlier, is most of my traffic's organic. So I have general stores. But within those general stores, I'll set up categories for different niches that I'm targeting to. And then if I run a campaign, which I don't do often, but when I do that, I'll target the entire category within my store to that platform.
Now, do you use different profiles for different niches? Would that versus just one profile and you just throw up like cat shirts and pinata shirts or whatever?
Yeah, most of my it happens to be that most of my content is
2 different things.
She's thinking birthday. She's on her birthday day.
No, it's
day
Fiesta
today.
in San Antonio. So Fiesta's on my mind.
Yeah, it depends. I'll give you an example. So up until this point, we've been talking about merch by Amazon, right? Which in itself is just one pod. It's a pod that happens to be with Amazon's pod, right? But in the book, it goes through lots of different pods, and the ones that I'm on, they're all very different, and they each have different strengths and weaknesses. So for example, if you want to sell a lot on Etsy, the question would be, do I want to have one Etsy with all my shirts for all these different topics, or do I want to set up a different Etsy shop on my Etsy store and have multiple shops, each shop targeting a specific niche? For Etsy specifically, each of those individual shops is way more effective than doing a general store on Etsy, right? Because somebody that goes to Etsy is looking for handmade, handcrafted, unique things they can't find in the store, things they can't necessarily find on Amazon even. They'll go to Etsy to get that special gift for somebody, right? Like I bought a custom flower pot for somebody. I used Shutterfly, and I put the name of their flower on it and a symbol that represented what their flower means to them, right? And that's very specific, right? So people will go to Etsy for very specific, handcrafted, customized things. That's what their expectation is. So if you have an Etsy store, I recommend doing specific shops for each of the niche that you want to target. But if you go to something like Redbubble, you can easily do multiple types of designs simultaneously, and you can categorize them into collections, right? So each collection could target a different group of people. And the way their algorithm works is if you've got a collection, it will show up in collections of things. So I actually list, I mean, I don't want to get too off topic because I can go all over the place here.
Okay.
But
I just want to jump in real quick.
Sure.
We might go over a little bit, so I apologize. But my topic was going to be on Pinterest, but I think we will skip it unless Jacob has anything really important to say about Pinterest. I did a video on Pinterest, so you could click on that video. I really wanted to go into the chat. I know there's been, I really want to thank everybody who's watching, and either Amy or anyone, do you want to call out anybody or ask any of the questions they're asking in the chat?
Yeah, they were asking about the book link, which Brianna and I both addressed that it's in the YouTube description of this live. So of course it'll be here after. And then I think she was going to post it in our Facebook group. So you guys can go right over to Gumroad and grab that. Some happy birthday wishes for Texas Amy. People love the chat. Some tips.
I see Andy Flammons in the chat. That's awesome. Mario, all kinds of people.
Alberto was throwing out some good tips on Instagram.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And then Jacob, do you want to just say a little bit about the book and a little bit about whatever you want to talk about?
Well, sure. I mean, I'm happy to go through the different topics as well, because I know you guys specifically wanted to cover marketing, but
yeah, just tell a little bit about the book in general.
Sure. Yeah, so the book again, it's called Merch in the World of Print on Demand. It's been out for over a year. It actually has 6 editions. The 5th edition is the one in Gumroad, and then the printed one is 1 edition more than that. There's only a few pages difference between them. And it covers the very basics. So if you know somebody who's just getting into pods, they don't even know what pod means, it goes from there. It goes into more than the basics. So I'll just read the table of contents. I'll give you a good idea. So there's the introduction, overview to pod. There's getting started, and the getting started part gets into a lot of complexity. So it starts out super basic, and the further into the book you get, the more complex it gets. So chapter by chapter, it gets more complex. So at the beginning, it's like, what is a pod? It's print on demand. How does it work? Well, you order something, it does this. It explains things.
So basically, it's for anyone. So as a beginner, you tell the beginner stuff and advanced.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. By chapter 3, there's 11 chapters, we get into the basics, beyond the basics, programs you can use. So I go through mobile apps, websites, desktop programs, tablet apps, websites like you were talking about. I show people how to do mock-ups. I show people how to do images, how to make their own, how to use somebody else's services to make their own. Brianna, you're on the screen. VA Rentals is in the book. We talk about that. I show people how to do apps for mobile, desktop, computer, vector programs. So I go into different types of programs for different types of designs that you can do, what the difference is between vectors and not vectors. I go into online editing tools and services, so things like Canva, but there's Pixplosion. There's a whole bunch of different apps on the web that you can use, so you can use them on any platform. Inspiration on fonts. So I go through different types of fonts, why you would have fonts, how to isolate and locate a font. So if you see an ad and you like it and you want to put that in a design, I show you how to look up what the font is, where to get a font, how to buy them, and also how to get free ones. And I talk about the licensing on fonts and the commercial license versus personal use. Talk about that. Reverse image searching. So if you want to check for copycats on your existing ones, or you want to have a service that does that, like a virtual assistant or a team of people to do that for you, you can do that. Or if you want to get inspiration on, you see one design, and you see similar designs because you want to think about how you might put one together. I show you how to do that using reverse image searches. And most people know you can do Google reverse image search, but I get into TinEye and other programs that can do reverse images. Resizing photos. So with Merch by Amazon, with hoodies, has the 4500 by 4050 dimensions, which are different than the other designs. So I've got services on how to bulk resize your images and how to automate bulk resize your images. So if you have 5,000 images and you want to resize them all for hoodies on Merch by Amazon, and then maybe you want to also put them on mugs on, let's say, I don't know, TeePublic, you can do mugs. You can resize them all for mugs, right? You can use a bulk resizer for that. Special cases, and then more information about fonts. So that's just one chapter 3, which is 3 chapters in.
Wow.
Then I go through the platforms. There's more than 35. They're all ranked by traffic, monthly traffic, based on Amazon site traffic, Alexa data.
Oh,
So
that's
the
really
order
helpful.
of the actual pods is ranked by traffic. And I also mention at the end of each pod how much traffic they actually get. So you can know how many monthly users comparatively there would be to other pods. Then there's, and they go into a lot of detail. So for example, they've got Amazon, Etsy, Redbubble, Zazzle, Teespring, Society6, Fine Art America, Custom Ink, Spreadshirt, Cafe Press, TeePublic, Printful, Designed by Humans, and that's less than half of the pods in the one chapter.
We have a question for Jacob.
Sure.
Let me see who asked it. Alberto asked, "Are you a Star Wars fan?"
Yeah, I love Star Wars. I've seen all of the original Star Wars, so the first 3 that came out, and then the prequels, and now the post-quels, I guess. There's 2 out of 3 of them out now. And then I also see like the saga movies as well. So I like Star Wars. I actually built a collection of all the Star Warses, and I got the CD versions, which are really hard to get, apparently. Yeah, I like Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elite Product Sourcing asked if anyone's ran ads on Google for their shirts. I guess the Google Shopping is what they're referring to.
Well, there's different things. So there's some of the pods give you free advertising on Google Shopping itself. So for example, Redbubble, they had previously 25 million Google Shopping slots, and they ran out. So they got authorization from Google. Now they have 50 million slots on Google Shopping. But there's different ways to use Google. You can use Google Shopping. You can use AdWords. You can use Google Trending. And then you can use Google AdWords services to pick out niches. So there's different ways to use Google for both creating designs, marketing the designs, making the designs more available. And you can also use Google Shopping yourself. So you don't have to wait for Redbubble to do that. If you want to put, here's a nugget, okay? People talk about nuggets sometimes. And I don't mention these too often. These are things that may or may not be in the book. So if you want to create a Google Shopping ad for your Merch by Amazon designs, you can do that. And think about what's happening there. If somebody searches on Google for the niche, right? You're going to see whatever the search results are. But on top of the search results, if there is a Google Shopping ad, Google is incented to show that before the search results because you get paid when they click on it. But you get unlimited views of that Google Shopping ad at no cost. You only pay when somebody clicks on it, right? So you can drive traffic to your Merch by Amazon listings through Google Shopping with no cost except for when they click on it. And that's on top of regular SEO organic search that you would get from Google. So you can build Google Shopping ads for your Merch by Amazon shirts. That's a nugget.
Awesome. Thank you.
So there's a whole chapter on marketing. I go to Intro to Marketing, Basics, Marketing 101, 201, 10 things that buyers value, marketing theory. I have like a summary of actual theory on marketing that I wrote. There's niche research, so how to create niches for yourself. I show you how to do like more than 100 different ways that you can create niche lists. So you should really, if you have the book, you should really never run out of niches. Marketing reaches social media platforms. So I go Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter. Those 4 I cover quite in depth on each of those. And then I have other places that you can market your designs, multiple ways to create print on demand can work for you. So I actually go into integrations. So doing platform to platform integrations on how to do workflows from like marketing to a platform to a web star. And with print on demand, there's different types. So you might have one print on demand might be like a marketplace where like Merch by Amazon is a marketplace where people go and they expect to shop. But there's other print-on-demand companies that are just back-end fulfillment. They don't have a marketplace, and you can plug them into marketplaces. So for example, let's say you're in Merch by Amazon, and you're in tier 1,000 or 2,000, but you've got 5,000 designs, or you're hitting your daily limit, you'd like to do more. You could connect a print-on-demand platform to Amazon Seller Central and push on additional designs. So you can bypass the tiers. You can bypass the max tier. You can also put up products that Merch by Amazon doesn't offer. So if you want to do print-on-demand mugs on Amazon.com and have it fully automated, you can do that. And a lot of people know about Printful. That's like super common. People know about it. But there's also other sites like Gearbubble that can do that. You can do a Printful to Shopify integration. If you've got Shopify, there's more than 10 different print-on-demand platforms, each with different products. So you can do print-on-demand jewelry and sell it on Amazon.com. You can do print-on-demand shirts, canvas paintings. You can do like skateboards. You can do all kinds of things, and you can run them and sell them on Amazon.com outside of the clothing category even, right? There's ways to do that. You can also sell on multiple Amazon marketplaces. So if you want to do print on demand and sell in Europe, you can do that. You want to sell in Canada, you can do that. You don't have to use just Amazon.com, right? So a lot of people, if they've talked to me a lot, they think that I don't like merch by Amazon. I love merch by Amazon. I just wish it had more stuff, but you can get all that stuff without it, so it's fine.
Do you mention the Walmart marketplace at all in the book?
Yeah, I do several different ways. So I mentioned there's certain pods that you can go onto that give you a market listings on Walmart.com. And I explain exactly how to do it. You have to meet certain criteria on certain pods. So I detail exactly what the criteria is, how to do it, the steps involved, where it goes. Yeah, it can get you on Walmart.com, on Wish.com, on Jet.com, Etsy, eBay as a marketplace, including international eBay marketplaces, so like eBay UK or eBay Canada, for example. Bonanza, Rakuten, Tmall, JD.com, Walmart.com. In addition to marketplaces that you can use like pods that give you access to those other marketplaces like Walmart, I show you how to go directly. So if you want to directly list on Walmart.com, there's instructions on how to do that. I tell you about how to get the documentation prepared to apply for the Walmart marketplace. That's in the book under the section on Walmart. And I show you how to connect print-on-demand platforms so that you can automate that process. And when people order stuff on Walmart.com, it goes through and it makes the shirt and sends it to the person, right? Because Walmart has like timing requirements and different production requirements. And I show you the partners that are authorized to do that you can connect to pods to fulfill your Walmart orders. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, but that's in the book.
We had a couple Etsy questions. Roy Rudin, I'm sorry if I'm ruining your name, asked for an Etsy app for posting on social sites.
What's the question?
If there's an Etsy app that you can use to post on social sites, I'm guessing like direct from Etsy.
Yeah, so Etsy has its own app marketplace. So just like if you wanted to list on Etsy, you can make a listing on Etsy and you can fill it yourself, right? But if you want to connect it to a pod, you can connect it to a pod. You'd use an Etsy app. So you'd, for example, with Printful, you can connect Printful to Etsy and then it will fulfill for you. There's other pods you can connect, like T-Aura and some other pods that will connect directly to Etsy. And I'll tell you the advantage of using multiple types of pods when you connect to a marketplace like Etsy. If nobody else knows about them, you're the only person that's using it. You can use specific items that nobody else has on Etsy. You could be the only person on Etsy or offering organic T-shirts. Printful doesn't have organic T-shirts, but Etsy has an integration to Printora, and Printora has access to Royal Apparel, and Royal Apparel through Printora has organic cotton T-shirts.
There
So if
you
you
go,
want to list
guys.
organic cotton T-shirts on Etsy, you can do that. But Etsy, in addition to pods, the Etsy marketplace has a growing number of apps. Just like Shopify has apps, and people know that there's different apps that do different things, Etsy has its own apps. So yeah, I'm sure that there's social media apps that integrate into Etsy. I haven't used any of them. I don't talk about those in the book. There are areas that I'm aware of that are not in the book. There's a whole bunch of different
I cannot believe we found an area not in that book.
I
I'm gonna go home right now and do version 6.
Well, it's
Yeah.
funny because it's changing. Things just change so quickly
So
that an
fast.
hour from now you've got more information you could be adding to your book, I'm sure.
Like when I did the
Jacob
4th
said
edition,
he
people were
did
asking
one
me,
nugget. I have a lot of nuggets. I've been writing nonstop.
It's so jam packed. Like I mean, we're over the hour, but I feel like I don't want to stop. Like it's just so many good nuggets. So
yeah, you know, I'll say this. I didn't know that there was an hour, so I apologize if I'm talking too much. But we did like a 5-hour call on the weekend on print on demand that started at 11:30 and went until 3:30 in the morning, right? And we talked for 5 hours about print on demand, right?
well, what do you guys think? Do you want to go a little longer?
If we did 5 hours.
I know. What
I
do
just
you
want
guys
to get
think?
through the
Like,
table of contents so people know what's in it. So
okay, keep going.
other pods that you can list on, other marketplaces you can do, good things that you can do with e-commerce platforms. So I actually go through multiple e-commerce platforms that you can list on outside of just regular pods. You can do other ones. I go through community resources, and this is something that I think is really important. Anybody that's in the space, it's a lonely space until you get connected, right? When you start, Imagine if you started print on demand and you didn't know about Facebook groups and you had nobody to connect to. It's going to be frustrating as anything. The book has a huge community resources things. So I go through different websites that you can connect with that talk about print on demand. What's that?
Is merch money in there?
You guys started after the last edition was published, so it's not there yet, but I can put you in.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
well, you can start after the last edition. So
we're 2 shows in, and we're like, "Can we be in your book, please?"
Yeah. So there's podcasts. There is a category for YouTube channels. I'll definitely put you guys in the next edition.
I'm just kidding. We're totally joking, but that would.
Why wouldn't I? Though, right? So there's Facebook groups. There's other books on merch in the book about merch. So there's other books you can buy about the subject. There's courses. If you want to look at courses that you can get, I put in multiple other people's courses in the book. There's live videos and screen sharing tools. So right now we're using Google Hangouts, but you could also use like Zoom. You could use BeLive. You could use other video sharing services. I actually put that in here because if you want to collaborate with people, it's important.
Oh, good, because I really need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people like, there's ways where you can have live YouTube streaming and also capture that and view it in Facebook Live.
Yes, Amy has been telling me to do that, and I'm like, it's too much.
Yeah, one thing at a time, but get all the steps in there. There's outsourcing. So what is outsourcing? Things that you can outsource. It turns out you can outsource 100% of your business.
I know this.
Yeah, and I don't mean like half of it or 75%. I mean all of it, 100%. You can outsource finding the niches, making the designs can be outsourced, listing the designs can be outsourced, managing.
Brianna's nodding.
Oh my God.
Brianna's company.
She's done all of that for me.
Talk to Brianna.
Yeah,
did all of it for me.
The VA rentals.
I haven't been able to get her to upload them for me yet, but I'm working on it.
There's uploading services in the book. So all of those, design research, niche creation, managing resource design requests, uploading your designs across multiple pods, marketing your listings. You can actually outsource the marketing of your stuff too. That's pretty fun. And then there's frequently asked questions, right? People have questions all the time. And I put in almost 40 pages of frequently asked questions and answers to all the questions.
Wow.
Then there's a conclusion.
This is a perfect place for me to ask somebody. This is something I've been curious about, and somebody asked in the chat with Etsy. Yeah. How important is it to have a catchy name for your Etsy store? This is what I'm tripped up on.
I don't think it's important at all. Nobody cares. No, I mean, as a creator, you care. Nobody else cares.
Nobody cares about your name, Amy.
Yeah, think about this. If I want to buy this, whatever this is, right? This is like, I don't know, a clip, and I can connect it to a camera dolly. Yeah, okay, so that's what that is. Let's say I go on the internet and I'm looking for this because I'm a photographer and I want to do motion graphics in my video camera, right? I go to Amazon, let's say, because I figure Amazon's, no store has this. You can't probably buy this in the shelf from Walmart, right? But I'll go on to Amazon, I'll type in this. When it comes up and it says sold by Amazon or sold by somebody else, how many buyers care? They don't care. They don't care.
Well, that's on Amazon, but Etsy's a different, it's more the mom and pop thing. So is the name...
But you still don't really care. I mean, so if you have repeat business, if you have a business with a lot of repeat business and you're trying to develop a brand, and let's say you sell like organic honey and you want to connect with like the farmer and that kind of thing, then they do want that connection. So the connection is important. What you call it is irrelevant. It could be Hannah's honey.
I think people get hung up on that with Pinterest too. So like they create boards and they want it to be all these cutesy little names. The problem with that is that there's going to be less people searching for that cutesy name. So it's better if you just have keywords in your board titles or probably your store titles than worrying so much about if it sounds super cute.
Yeah, it's more about findability and reach than it is about the feeling it gives you to buy from that store. That being said, if you develop a larger brand, the larger the brand becomes, the more important that can become. So I don't want to say it's totally not important. I'll give you an example, Lululemon, right? Lululemon started out as a very small company and they grew very quickly. But now when I say Lululemon, you guys think you like yoga clothing.
Yoga.
Right? So they've built that brand, right? But when they started, it didn't matter. But once they grew to a certain size, then it becomes mattering, right? So it's the same thing with an Etsy store. When you start, it doesn't really matter. But the larger your store becomes and the more repeat traffic you have and the more word of mouth people start to repeat buy from you, that's when it starts to matter more. And you always have the option of changing it, right? So if you get to a certain size and you decide that, pink marshmallows and jumping unicorns wasn't a great name, you want to change it to like Blue Pastures Milk, whatever, then you can change it, right? So it's the same thing with Merch by Amazon. You can change your brand name. You can switch your brand. You can run more than one brand at the same time.
Awesome.
I hope that
Thank
answers
you.
your question, though.
Oh, big time. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Is there any more last things in the chat? And just real quick before I forget, I just want to say that we are so thankful that you came on the show today, Jacob. You've done, I mean, we all learned so much. We all were taking notes.
Do you want to find out the rest of the book, just from the table of contents?
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, sorry. So there's a frequently asked questions. There's a conclusion, which wraps everything up. Then there's chapter 10 is like mind-blowing. It's literally additional info going beyond the other chapters, coming soon, very soon, and then there's a glossary. But don't discount it because it has a ridiculous name. The content in chapter 10 shows you how to bulk automate multiple designs across multiple print-on-demand platforms simultaneously in bulk, fully automated.
Oh my gosh. Answer to my prayers.
Why did we wait till the very end to say that?
Well, I put it at the end of the book too, because you don't want that getting out there. It gives you the ability to upload like 50,000 designs a day. So if everybody does that, then it's going to be kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm not up in the morning hashtagging, it's because I was up all night reading Jacob's book.
I know.
Well, there's a warning about that. Actually,
She'll still be up in the morning hashtagging. Don't want to fool you.
Here's a warning for Brianna. Look at this. In the beginning of the book, in the legal disclosures before the table of contents, I put a sleep warning because when I was writing it, I had problems here. Many of the concepts and ideas contained in the book cause you to become more excited than you can imagine and may result in severe sleep loss. Exercise caution and consult with a healthcare professional as needed. Personally, I had to take sleeping aids in order to fall asleep because I was so excited writing the book. But everyone's different, so be safe, enjoy the book, and don't forget to sleep.
Oh my God.
Christopher says don't use hash when you're hashtagging.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean that's the chapters in the book. You asked me to talk about them, so that's done.
Awesome. It's amazing.
I can't wait. I am going to read that from cover to cover. I am excited.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to give it a print.
Yeah. I encourage people to not only buy it, but also read it. So if you go to the Gumroad version, the link that you guys have in the description, in the actual top of the title, there's a little orange box and it says action leads to results, learn to do more. I think that's really meaningful because a lot of people, and you guys have been around for a while, you know this, people will buy a course. They'll spend like, I don't know, $200 on a course or $500 or $800 or whatever. Some people spend like $5,000 on a course and literally they won't even take the course. They won't read the book. They won't watch the videos. They won't do anything. So here's a really, if you want to improve how you're doing any part of your pod business that happens to be addressed in the book, you do have to read the book. But buying the book doesn't help you to sell more. Reading it and then learning it and then doing it, even if you've read it, if you don't do it, it doesn't affect your sales, right? You have to actually do it. You could read about a bunch of platforms and upload nothing to any of them. Your sales aren't going to go up because you didn't take action. But if you even read like one page and you see one pod that really stands out, right? Like maybe Fine Art America, you like the fact that you can put your designs on network television and you want to have your designs on ABC. I talk about that in the book, right? You have to actually sign up for the platform and upload a design and then click a box. So if you don't do those three things, your shirts are not going to be on like Roseanne, the TV show. But if you do those three things, the probability of that happening is very high because they have a licensing agreement with network television. You can put your designs into television shows, which air for like the next 30 years on TV and reruns and everything else, right? So I would say take action when you read, if you read the book or if you get it, or even if your friend gets it and you borrow their book or something. Don't do that with the digital copy because that's very bad economically. But if they have a printed version, you can lend it to somebody. I encourage people to take action and actually do, even if you do a little bit, it can really add incrementally on top of what you're already doing, right?
And I was going to say that the size of it is, I mean, it's sizable. So I would say to everyone, don't get overwhelmed either. I mean, you had actionable content on one page. Take one page, read it, and do it. And don't try to do the whole book tomorrow, which I'm probably going to try to do tonight.
Yeah.
But,
unless you're Brianna, then you can do the whole book tonight.
Yeah,
Everyone else.
AKA Superwoman.
It's just amazing that just taking 1 page, 2 pages, 1 chapter, and really immersing yourself in it, and then like doing it. Ugh.
I have been so impressed with this group of how quickly people take action. Because I agreed with the same thing with Jacob. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this video on Amazon Spark, and people are going to say it's nice, and that's it. So many people made posts that day on it. Like, I could not believe how fast the turnaround was. It wasn't like next week, maybe I'll look at it. Like, they were posting that day. Yeah. So
we're hungry. We're hungry.
I can't wait to see what everyone does with this book. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Walmart doesn't know what's coming. All these shows.
Well, I mean, there's stuff in the book sometimes, like when I was reading it, I found out a lot of stuff. Remember, before I wrote the book, a lot of the stuff that's in it, I'd never even heard of. I had to research, right? So I spent over 1,000 hours of like logging time to actually create the book, right? And I found out a bunch of stuff. So I'm sure that there's some data, there's some information in the book that is so buried, you can Google it and it won't even come up. Right? You can literally take out some of the information in the book. You could literally Google into a search engine, not just Google, you can put it in any search engine and it doesn't even come up. It's not searchable, right? I had to go in and actually read the sites. I'd go into a pod, I'd sign up for the pod, load designs onto it. I'd go into the FAQ in the pod, read the whole thing. I've read on all the pods that I'm on, I've read the entire FAQ of every pod that I'm on from beginning to end, right? So that's how I went about doing it. I wanted to be thorough and I didn't want to miss stuff. That's just my personality. I'm very like analytical. And so there's stuff that's in the book that you really, unless you've gone on and done that, which you can do, you can go into a pod and you could happen to read something. There's little tidbits. I usually label them with pro tip. There's a bunch of pro tips throughout the book. And if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. There's stuff in there like, for example, if you have a listing on Teespring, did you know if you register your Teespring account with your Facebook ad account, you get an extra 50 cents on every sale for every listing on the entire platform forever? Cool. On top of what you normally get. It's just an extra 50 cents on every single sale.
I'm writing that down.
Me too.
That's like a pro tip, right? But if you didn't know that, then you're not going to do it, right? You can't take action on stuff you don't know about very well. You know what I mean? So I tried to like fill it with all kinds of like, some of it's really obscure, right? But some of it's really obvious. And if you already know it, you're going to read it and you're like, yeah, of course, everybody knows that, right? But if you don't know it and you read it, you're like, wow, that's amazing, right? So different people are going to get different things. I can almost guarantee that there's content in the book that almost nobody, generally speaking, nobody would have.
I think you can definitely guarantee that. Like, yeah. There's no way that everybody knows all this stuff.
Right.
Maybe, yeah. Well, and the book keeps getting updated too, right? So if you read the book before, like let's say you read it a year ago when it came out, the version one was like around less than 100 pages, right? And then version 2 came out, and then the third version, or the editions, I guess, the 3rd edition, the 4th edition, the 5th edition, and the print version's the 6th edition. If you've already read one of the earlier editions, but you haven't looked at it in like the last 8 or 10 months or whatever, you get the free updates for life in Gumroad. So all you do is you go to your Gumroad library and you re-download the current version, and you'll find that it has more stuff. So even if you've read it, if you want to reread it, there's a lot of new stuff. Like the last version more than doubled the content. It's like from 4 to 5. I spent almost a year before I pushed out that update, and it more than doubled the content in the book. So it's really changed a lot.
Amazing.
It's awesome. Any last things you wanted to add, Jacob, or any last questions?
I wonder if there's more questions in the comments. This is a live chat, and a lot of the times, like, it's easy to get, as speakers, it's easy for us to have a conversation, get caught up in it. But like, I can't see the chat, but can somebody go through and check and see if we answered all the questions? Because sometimes if you have an unanswered question in the chat, it's frustrating. And we should also keep in mind people watching the replay. We shared this with like more than 15,000 people, so you're probably going to get some replays. So we want to address those people as well. Thanks for watching the replay, right?
Yeah.
Jack Browning asked, what site was that Teespring to connect to Facebook?
So if you want to connect Teespring, Teespring, he was talking about Teespring to Walmart, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh, the Facebook ads account, maybe?
Facebook ads. I'll look it up. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I've got to look it up.
There you go with the tabs and everything. Ready to go.
Yeah, I didn't label all of the pods, so it may take me a couple seconds to look it up. And the Teespring section's huge, but I'll definitely get to you. There's like there's a little note in the bottom of one of the pages that shows you how to do it.
Oh, somebody's asking, can we get a link to the Amazon Spark video? That's on my personal YouTube page, and my name's Helen Kinson, but it's one of the featured, like you'll see a little featured section of YouTube's, and mine's there, and Brianna's YouTube is there.
Jack said something.
It's also in the Facebook group. You can join our Facebook group, and we posted a link there as well.
I've been answering some of the questions too, like just typing.
Oh,
so I mentioned that to them. Yeah, no worries. But Jack was talking about the 50-cent thing. I guess he missed part of it. Is that what you're looking up? Okay.
Yeah. I just have to find it.
Christopher wants to know, did you make that Huntington Beach hat?
No, this is so last year I went on the Merch Madness tour. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not, and I posted a lot about it on Facebook, but I went to more than 40 different cities across North America and more than half the states and more than half the provinces. And I met with people individually, like one-on-one at almost every location. Some of them were group meetings. And I talked to them about print on demand and what they're doing and how they feel about things and like what questions they had. And I just kind of met with people for an evening or whatever. And one of the locations I went to was Huntington Beach, where my friend Sean Zent has a cart on the beach. Like he physically sells these. Well, he doesn't actually sell these. He sells other hats. And I went and spent the day with him, and I actually filled up a shopping cart and went out on the pier, and I almost got arrested. I got pulled over by the police because I didn't have a license to sell on the pier itself, and I guess it's like a world famous attraction. And so I got kicked off the beach, but I went to the CVS, and they had these in the CVS, and I'm like, cool, I'm here. I want a visor. It's very sunny, so I bought the hat, and then now I use it. If I'm having a really bad hair day, I'll just throw on the visor. Today my hair is awful because yesterday we had a fire.
I was going to say, you've had a lot going on.
Yeah, like right now our furnace is not running, so it's getting increasingly colder in here. And so I haven't wanted to take, just basically my hair's messed up. So that's the short
That's the story behind the hat.
There's a lot of stories behind a lot of things, yeah.
Oh, man.
I have to look for it. There's a pro tip. I've got to increase. So in the table of contents, I didn't label all the platforms. I'm in the Teespring space, but the Teespring space itself is there's like 15 pages on Teespring. It's a really big pod.
Christopher said you could have just claimed mental illness and the cops would have let you go.
Well, what I said was I'm from Canada and that's my friend over there. And he has a license to be on Huntington Beach and he has a licensed cart. I'm just like the mobile version of that. I thought I'd go and tell people there. And I haven't sold anything for my cart, so technically I'm not breaking the law, but I'm happy to go and take the cart back if you don't want me to push a shopping cart down the pier, right? I didn't accept any money. I had no payment system, so they really had no grounds to arrest me, and so they let me go.
And they didn't deport you, so you're okay.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, here it is. It's under free money. So pre-tip. So on page 100 of the printed version right now, authenticate your Facebook ads account and get an extra 50 cents discount per sales from the start, and you do that inside of Teespring.
Oh, okay.
So it's in around volume discounts. That's where it is. So if you go to the volume discounts section of Teespring, the more designs you sell on Teespring, you get volume discounts. So if you sell between 100 and 500 units, you get an extra discount of 40 cents. Up to 1,000, you get $1 discount off the base price, right? So you're making more profit per shirt. And it goes all the way up to 20,000 plus, where you're getting $4.80 of a discount on the base. And then there's a discount for the US side of Teespring, and there's a different discount on the EU side. And I actually lay them out in here. But at the bottom of the page on Teespring about the discounts, it tells you inside the details on that page. It says you have to link up, so authenticate your Facebook ads account with Teespring, and you'll get 50 cents discount per sale anytime. And then I label it as free money. So if you have the Gumroad version, you can type in free money. I actually put more than one places in here. So you can get 50 cents per sale from Teespring. You can also get $100 back if you have a Payoneer account. There's a link in the book to just give you $100 cash. So if you're worried about the price of the book on Gumroad is $57. But in the book, I've got links that give you $100 US dollars. and I label them as free money. So if you have it on like your desktop, it's a PDF, you can search free money and you get a whole bunch of sections that come up on that. Even like some of the courses, I negotiated discounts on almost everything that I put in the book if it's paid. So if you're thinking about taking, for example, a course on how to do Etsy more in depth, like a video course, because you don't like what I put in it on the book already, which is pretty detailed. But if you wanted to go in and take it even further and take a course about it, I've got like $100 discount on courses that you can take that are exclusive to my book. As far as I know, those discounts don't exist outside of the book, right? There's savings on multiple things, like Brianna VA rentals. There's links in the book to VA rentals, but not just like, there's one click that goes to everything, and then there's other links that go to specific products. And I actually talk about, VA rentals has this service and this service and this service. This is what they do. This is what they offer. This is how it works. These are the steps. And here's information about it. You can click on it. A lot of those things in the book, they aren't just links to services. They are also include discounts or discount codes or just a reduction in price. So you can save money on other things if you own the book.
Pays for itself easily, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, if you get like a Payoneer account, put $1,000 in it, they'll pay you $100 cash, and you can pay for the book for that, and then you can take your neighbor out for dinner, right? And you still have money left over.
Awesome. Good show, guys.
This has been amazing. So
The brain's like,
I know. We're like stunned. We don't even know.
I know. That's exactly how I feel. I think my brain just exploded.
Yeah.
I have
That's
to
the number one
recognize
piece
all
of,
my notes.
I would say the number one complaint that I have about the book is it covers too much. So if you're feeling it covers too much, just take a break, put it down, take the sleep aids. I carry sleep aids when I'm reading my own book. So this is my box I use. I literally can't sleep when I'm working on the book, so I have to take them in order to sleep.
Oh my God.
But
I think I need something like that.
yeah, or let's say you're not, some days you're not sure what kind of design to do and you're kind of bored and you're like, okay, I have a bunch of stuff I can do, but I don't feel like doing any of it. What do I do today? It's kind of a non-motivated day. There's 365 pages in the book. So if you get a calendar, let's say there was a calendar on Redbubble, for example, because you can do calendars in Redbubble now. You can actually like have the page number on the calendar and just look at one page and do whatever's on that page.
I love it. That's a great
There
idea.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And anybody that makes products and stuff.
Where you would be in a year if you really did that.
Yeah.
Just imagine.
Yeah, well, you could have a reading program. Like people call it the Merch Bible, right? But if a lot of Bibles have like a word, like devotional
like
work through,
yeah,
like 365 days, and you'll read the whole Bible kind of thing. So if you wanted to do that with the book, there's 365 pages. You could create your own like read through the book in a year program and just read like one page a day, right?
Cool.
So new website, Merch Devotional, and have it linked to your book.
I'll talk to Johnny who made the Merch Bible. Maybe he'll make Merch Devotional or something.
Right. I think that's great.
It's a little sacrilegious, but it's kind of fun, right?
awesome.
Well, what do you guys think? Are we?
I think we're
ready
good
to
with
wrap up?
I think we're all caught up. Can we hold the book up?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Oh,
someone
yeah, sure.
wants you to hold the book up real quick here.
That's it from the front. On the side, so if you put it on your bookshelf, it's quite nice. You can see it's got the name of the book, and then mine's got a bunch of papers and stuff in it. But you can see there's like tons of pages. The printed book itself is over 300 pages, so it's got pages and stuff.
How much is the Jacob Topping with the tabs and everything in there? Like
This version?
Your version.
I want the editor's cut.
Yeah.
That's it, editor.
The personalized version.
There's a funny story. So the printed version, for people that don't know, the printed version has been out for less than a month. It's brand new, right? The ebook, the Gumroad version, it's already sold like, I don't want to get into numbers, but it's sold more than $50,000 worth of copies in its first year, and it's been out for more than a year now. The printed version's been out less than a month. And right now I have pre-orders on the printed copy, and I'm waiting to get the printed copies here from CreateSpace, and they're not fast enough. So I order them from CreateSpace, and then I order them from Amazon.ca, and then I order them from Amazon.com. I'm trying to get my own book printed so I can ship it out to people who pre-ordered the printed copy.
Wow.
Like, it's problematic for me. So if anybody knows how to like ship things faster using either CreateSpace or Amazon and affordably, because I can pay for like rush shipping. I sent a book to Australia, and the book cost me $26 to ship. And I'm like, it was an affiliate commission, and that person had got it at a discount using a promotion that I had one time. And so at that point, I'm losing money on the book by shipping it out to people in certain circumstances. So if anybody has any tips on how to ship things quickly but not expensively, I'm open to learning about that, because that's not an area that I'm good at or that I have a lot of. A lot of people are wondering about the Kindle version. There's no Kindle version right now, but you can get the Gumroad version. The link is in the video, and you can email it to your Kindle device. And then once it's there, it plays on all your Kindle. So your Kindle, the actual physical Kindle, or your iPad, you can open it up in iBooks if you have an iPad, or you can open it up in Kindle on your iPad if you want, or any of the devices you can run Kindle on. So you can get that, but you can't buy it from Kindle right now at the moment. I just haven't had time to set it up yet. So it will become available on Kindle later, and audiobooks and other languages as well, as something I'm looking into.
Awesome.
So I want to translate it into German and to Japanese and one other language.
Perfect. Well, thank you again so much. You're our first guest, and it's going to be hard for other guests to top this.
I don't know. Some of the other guests are pretty smart. I recommend. So you were talking about Instagram. There's a friend of mine, Fernando. He's going to be speaking at the Houston conference this week.
He's already booked.
Yes, he is.
All right. So he's already booked.
He's coming up soon here.
He's already.
Fernando and myself and Chris Green and a number of other speakers, which are very knowledgeable about print on demand.
He needs to be on our show. He is not booked yet, so.
Yeah, they're all going to be speaking at Simples on Sellers conference, which is in Texas. I understand Amy, who's from Texas, has a birthday today.
Amy.
I recommend you come to the Simples on Seller conference in Houston. It's this week.
I've thought about it.
It's this week, Amy, and it's your birthday.
Go get that interview.
Yeah, it's on the 27th, 28th. So if you wanna go to that conference, you can, reach out to people that are speaking there, like myself or Fernando or Chris, and maybe you can just be there.
That would be fun.
Awesome.
Cool, guys.
Yeah, and speaking of guests, next week we have Joe Clay on. So he's going to be talking about design, quality design. So that's our topic next week. Make
sure that you ask him about mobile design, and there's a story behind that when you have him on.
Okay.
He was on my Merch Madness tour. I actually flew out to Texas, and then I drove up to Oklahoma, and I met Joe Clay, and my wife met him. The three of us hung out for like a few hours in Oklahoma, just one-on-one. Well,
that's great.
Yeah, so ask him about his mobile designs.
All right, I will.
Have lots to say about it.
Yes, he loves designing on mobile. Yeah, cool. He has all kinds of tips. So
yeah, I love Joe. We talk a lot.
Yeah,
we did maple syrup together virtually when we talked. So we did a video call, right? And he wanted to know about maple syrup. So I have a maple tree in my front yard. So I got out a drill and I drilled the hole into it, and I put like the spigot thing in, and I basically explained to him exactly how maple syrup is made, showing him on my actual maple tree that were getting maple syrup from.
Wow.
It's kind of fun.
Was the maple syrup actually running?
No, it was the wrong time of the year, so it was dry. But right now, actually, like the last 2 weeks and for like a month and a half before that, the temperature's been perfect. So if you haven't had actual pure 100% maple syrup, and it doesn't even have to be from Canada, because like Vermont makes maple syrup and other places, right? But this year, I suspect the price will be lower than other years because it's very seasonal. And to make maple syrup, you have to have basically above 0 in the daytime, above 0 degrees Celsius, and below 0 degrees Celsius at night. And it has to be that condition is required to make the sap flow. So that's been like a very long maple syrup season this year. So if you haven't tried it, it's probably going to be less expensive this year throughout the year, because there's going to be tons of it. Like we have maple syrup drips on our car, and we have to like wash it off the car in order to see out the window. It's kind of frustrating, but we joke about it. We're like, oh yeah, our car, because it gets covered in sap and then it dries off in the sun, and it makes like maple candy on our car, but it's really frustrating. Just like other tree sap, like it sucks to get it off, but if it's maple, you can like scrape it off and eat it. It's like maple candy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So when we go to the car wash, we have to spray it off so we can like see out the window, because it's like gel all over your windshield, maple syrup.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Anybody have any last little things to say?
Definitely check out Jacob's book.
Absolutely.
Come on over into the Merch Money group, and we'll have the links up there so that you can buy the hard copy or obviously I think you should get the Gumroad so you can get the updates.
Or both. A lot of people get both.
I would say both.
Yeah,
worth
absolutely. So we'll have those links up for everybody, and thank you so much, Jacob, for coming on.
Jacob.
We'll have
Thanks
to
for having me, guys.
maybe plan a future interview again to kind of dive into some more stuff.
I would invite each of you. I have a show that I do that's a live video show. I would like to invite each of you to reach out, and I can interview each of you one at a time, or as a group, whatever you want, or both, to chat about the things that you guys do. Because everybody does something differently, right? That's something I found out going to conferences. You go to a conference, you network with somebody, and you're like, oh yeah, I saw them. They talk about this. I know they know about this. But then you meet them in person, you find out that's like 10% of what they do.
Yeah.
It's 90% of other stuff that you will blow your mind. Like, you would not believe how much these ladies know about things that they haven't yet talked about. Because they know stuff, and they just don't have time to talk about all of it on every show. But I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel, watch the replays, come back, set your little bell alarm so you can see the Merch Money YouTube channel, and make sure you come back and you watch their shows, because over time you'll start to see all these little things that these ladies know that you may not have thought of, and you'll learn more that way. And the group videos are actually quite synergetic. They work well for that.
Oh, thank you so much, Jacob.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob.
That was so nice.
I know.
Aw. Well,
And
thank
you
you.
can share the video with if you're watching the replay and this is near the end, make sure you share it on your channels.
Absolutely.
You just go on YouTube, you click on share, and then you copy the link and you put it places. You don't even have to be into merch. Maybe you're an FBA seller and you're watching this, or
Maybe you like maple syrup.
Yeah, maybe you're a maple syrup farmer and you've been keyworded.
Or pinata shirts.
Yeah. Just share the link from the YouTube video replay and put it in your emails if you want, as like part of your signature. Just check out this channel. These girls are awesome. They have these crazy guests on that make maple syrup and stuff. And people will love you more if you share their YouTube video. So do that.
Another nugget from Jacob.
Another nugget. We can't end this show. The nuggets just keep coming.
Lots of nuggets tonight, folks. Lots of nuggets. I've been writing them in Post-its everywhere. I posted all around me.
We're all gonna have to watch the replay just to like get.
I'll give you guys another nugget because we didn't close the call yet. When you have Joe Clay on, okay, make sure you ask him about his Patreon, because Joe is very he does so many things that he doesn't talk about. But here's a little nugget for people that are going to tune in the next show to listen to Joe, who's very good. If you subscribe to Joe's Patreon channel, you get access to all of the things he posts on Gumroad. That is a valuable nugget. You subscribe to his Patreon, and you get all the things that are on his Gumroad. Joe Clay is going to be here next week.
There you go. I think that's the perfect ending to the show.
Absolutely.
Our current guest recommending the next guest. Can't do anything better than that.
We love it.
So, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, big time. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob.
Amy. I want to see you in Texas.
Thank you.
Yeah,
maybe I might show up in Houston.
If you don't come to Houston, I might just pop up and give you a birthday present. Who knows? Anything's possible in the world of print on demand, right?
Hey, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
All right, bye guys.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye.